Welcome to Out of the Blank.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank. Adam Nutter is back. He's eating pistachios on a talking show. What do you know?
I'm very hungry. They're also shellless, so no real noise.
Are they dry?
Salt and vinegar, brother bear.
So you're going to need a drink.
I got two. Come on, what am I, a fucking rookie at this?
Okay, sorry.
Oh, damn.
You got
I have a
fake
half-drank
fireplace
one.
in the corner.
I have
Is
a
that
full one.
Is that? Oh, wow. You're that person that drinks the antioxidant buys.
I just don't like, I'm sick of water.
No, you're just slowly taking out your hatred on bisexual people by drinking a drink called bi, because it's like you're drinking their blood, adrenochrome style.
Slowly taking my hatred out?
Oh,
I'm kidding.
we can't get canceled yet. We're only 2 minutes in. How's it been?
Good, man. How about you?
Comedy?
Comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's
Been
that
busy.
field been? Oh, it's been busy. Really? Tell me about it.
Do a lot of shows and shit. A lot of shows come out for the summer. I'm looking forward to it. Gonna hit the road. Going
Wait.
south.
Ooh, South, where they accept you.
It's my brethren, so I feel comfortable down there.
That was a good one. What's been because I need to get, we're gonna do a collaboration episode. It's gonna be me, you, and Corey Walsh, a buddy of mine. He's the Libservative pod, you're the Porcupine. We're gonna have a good
Wait, what'd you say he is? The what pod?
Libservative.
A libservative?
Yeah, he's a libertarian as well.
Oh, shit. Where has this guy been my whole life?
I told you before that we were
I
gonna
know.
do a collaboration effort on
I
it.
know, but I didn't know he was libertarian. I was under the assumption he was not libertarian.
No, he is libertarian.
Okay.
I just feel like we talk about the basic same structures and see where it goes from there. But I don't know. I'll let the show flow.
Okay. That sounds fun.
Okay.
I always like to tell people about liberty and how they could achieve more liberty in their lifetime by,
I feel pretty free.
Do you?
No,
Yeah,
like-
no shit.
no time in my life now. I think even more with diving into the alien topic. I just feel like we're in more of like we're gonna see people that are just gonna get sucked into the metaverse and never come out. I was listening to Robert Epstein on Joe Rogan, and he was the guy that has been talking about how they've been monitoring our cell phones, and he's written multiple articles about browser. Did you know Google shut down the internet for a full 48 minutes or 46 minutes?
How can they shut down all the internet?
They literally put every single server on a blacklist. So you go, well, I'll just use Yahoo. You know what browser you're fucking
Oh.
using, right? Google is fucking.
Well, Amazon Web Services, though, right? They're like Google's just a website. They're not like a.
Google's everything on your browser computer. You probably have Google Chrome.
No, I do, but I'm saying like Google's not a hosting platform service, though.
I didn't think
Google's
they.
just a
I
website.
didn't think that's what I thought, but it's a browser. So when you click, like I'm doing right now, I'm clicking on it right now. When I click on it, it opens up. It's Google. But if Google is shut down and has
How about-
blacklisted
so-
every single site, that means whenever you type into the Google app that you're
Okay,
using
that makes
now,
sense. So
it doesn't pop
theoretically,
up.
though, if I was to use Bing or DuckDuckGo, it would have worked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they didn't shut down the internet then. They shut down Google. Because the internet's just a fucking, it's like a ether of nothing, right? It's just like a bunch of fucking wires and shit that are across the ocean, the ocean's floor, that connect into other shit. I really don't know how the internet works, but I know it's not Google. I know Google doesn't like, I know you need like, I know like the military and shit, and I think the government, which, whatever that says about us, but they use Amazon Web Services as like their hosting platform for all their websites and shit.
Well, it's interesting because apparently Google puts things on blacklist, and at this time, I think it was in 2009, Google had put every single site on a blacklist somehow. They said it was a hack, but the weird timing of what this guy was talking about was that they did it on like a specific time when the stock market, there's no transactions, is on a Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10. And trying to figure. I gotta find the article.
I mean, I put nothing past the corruption of anybody in government. So
Well,
yeah,
it's like if they can down the whole internet for everybody, basically, because everyone has Google automatically installed on their thing, then it
but not
shows you like,
everyone uses Google Chrome though. I know plenty of people use like Firefox and shit.
okay, well, the guy at Firefox did an open interview talking about a lot of this type of censorship and a lot of the tracking that they do and how all
Oh, of
these,
course they do.
well, how all these things are like linked together in paid partnerships in a sense.
Yeah, Snowden said this years ago. Now he's in Russia.
What is it about Assange? Why do people keep talking about Assange recently?
Because he should be not in prison.
Why? But who is he?
Julian Assange was one of the founders of Wikileaks. Wikileaks, they're the ones who like brought up the had all the Hillary email stuff. They had the good shoot a military video they released with they killed with the helicopter guys killing all the innocent people in Iraq on the fucking with turret gun. They released that to the public. They did a lot of good shit. They exposed like a lot of corruption, not just in American government, in all like world governments. In fact, WikiLeaks has 100% success like rate. I think they never like were wrong about anything they ever put out. And then of course that's not good for the world elites. And they're like, you got to go. So then they framed him for like a rape he never committed. And then like they fucking put him in the embassy. Then he was like locked away in the embassy. And they tortured him while he was in the embassy. Like they shut off all of his powers. And they finally got him out of the embassy. Now he's in jail in prison in England. And I think they're trying to extradite him here to the US. But he didn't do anything wrong. He should be free. It's true. It's a true modern day killing of a journalist for exposing the truth. And essentially.
So like a Snowden. Okay, so I had to type this in on I had to type this in on DuckDuckGo because Google was not showing it up, which is weird because I pulled it up on Google before. So unless they've monitored my tracking history, but this is actually recently they actually started talking about the Clinton and Trump election where they were talking about that there was election fraud. Not only was it Russian troll farms, which some of the why is it not letting me scroll down? What the hell was that? Build your brand. How about no? Google blacklists entire internet. Glitch causes world's most popular search engine classify all web pages as dangerous. Google placed the internet on a blacklist today after a mistake caused every site in the search engine's result pages to be marked as potentially harmful and dangerous. The problem afflicted internet pages across the whole planet and lasted for around 40 minutes before engineers were able to fix it. The glitch centered on Google's malware detector, which is designed to keep the internet users from visiting sites Google believes may install malicious software when users browse them. Google blamed human error when an engineer tried to add one web address to the list of deemed. Does that not seem like a grasp for power? You do it at the one time when the stock market, there's no money being traded, when the office closed from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. where no money's being exchanged. And that a brief amount of time. Think if you do something that grand of scale and you say it's an accident, it's gonna you're less likely to have cops coming after you or an FBI investigation coming after you if there's no money being lost. It's kind of like Elizabeth Holmes. If she didn't affect a bunch of people's lives and literally cause life and death in a sense, then she probably wouldn't have gone to jail. She probably would have got a huge fine if she just like did a Bernie Madoff style thing.
Right, but you're under the assumption that like the FBI is not corrupt and they're like actually good. Hey, let me ask you.
I'm sure they're tied in there with Google.
What's the last crime the FBI solved they weren't involved in?
I don't know. They've been involved in every single one that I could think of.
Almost every single one they've been involved in, and the ones they don't solve. That's how it goes. Like,
well, okay, like,
because they're a joke.
What I'm saying is it leads into the whole censorship issue, and now it's going to be a bigger issue with censorship. Not only the fact that you're not able to say that you can't just like, I would say jokingly bully on the internet, more like saying like, oh man, that's such an idiot move. That's a hate crime. That's what they consider that as a flag of like, no, can't put that on Facebook, can't put that on Twitter, can't do anything like that.
Oh yeah, you can't say shit on Twitter anymore. I have to skirt around what I say so much. It's crazy.
But the issue now is becoming, which might have always been like this, is that it's also going to be corporately owned. I mean, already more than it is, but so much so that all these paid partnerships, they're not going to give a fuck about you. They're not even going to let you onto their fucking site now. You're never going to even pop up in the results. If Adam Nutter isn't a Google comedian, then I don't need to he's not going to pop up in our search results if he's not going to take our fucking money.
Yeah, but they're already kind of doing that, right? With people they don't agree with, they're already silencing them. They're already pushing them back on search engines and stuff on SEOs.
Well, it came to my conclusion, I would say, after that podcast. I remember trying to put a podcast guest link in their description to for the episode so people can click on it. As soon as I clicked on their link, it said, warning, this is going to be harmful towards your computer. That means Google put something in their website that they have in there as a blacklist, and their website involves that. Necessarily doesn't mean that you're going to get a virus. They're just fearing you with the virus thing, because more than likely or not,
Right.
you're probably going to turn away, which makes it an issue where you start looking at the navigational techniques of all these businesses to be able to block you from going into certain things and maybe uncovering some type of information. But it's so hard because most of the world already runs on Google. It's like when I tell you to name a soda, you either think Coke or Pepsi. You're not really thinking any other off brands. These already own the market. Google is installed on every single person's computer. If you don't have Microsoft Windows or you don't have another separate web browser, then when you click into Google and the internet's down, it's down for every single site you try and look up. You can't look up Yahoo because that's part of their search engine still. You're still on Google.
So what the government did, especially during the whole like COVID tyranny thing, it's smart, right? I mean, evil's smart. That's why they're successful. Because if evil was dumb, we would all be like, get out of here easily, right? But evil's smart. And what evil did was they went, government went, hey, we're not censoring anybody. That's against the First Amendment. We're just telling Google to censor you because they're a private company and they can do what they want. What that actually is, what you're seeing now, and people are going to piss them, I'm going to say this because they're fucking stupid, but what you're seeing now is actual fascism. And when I say fascism, people think like Hitler, Nazis, Holocaust. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, true. But I'll talk about the Mussolini fascism. The Mussolini Mussolini was the one who coined the fucking term. He's the one who came up with what fascism is. Hitler took it and ran with it, right? Mussolini's fascism is the blending of corporations and government as one. That's what true fascism is, right? And that's what you're seeing now in America and especially the rest of the world, where you're seeing government go to Google, Facebook, fucking whatever the fuck company you want to mention in tech, and they're like, hey, any of the stuff that we don't agree with, you gotta fucking ban them. And they go, okay, and then we go, that's illegal. You can't. It's unconstitutional. They go, we're not banning you. We would never do that. They are.
Well, Shane Gillis put up a tweet, and some person, I'll try and pull it up on here, but Shane Gillis put up a tweet. Some person was like wondering who the fuck's Neil Young, first of all, but why is he saying, like, calling out Joe Rogan? The video shows you that Neil Young's record label, the main
half of his music's owned, by a drug company.
Yeah, is owned by fucking. Isn't that fucking nuts, man? Does that not start to get you in this realm of like, maybe there's like, I mean, we're obviously already in it. Like, we're already in like basically a chess game that we just kind of figured out we're starting to be in. But I think it's hit a grander scale. And honestly, it's the best plan for probably political or power in general. It just makes it more difficult because now you're seeing, the president talk about how he had a nice conversation with someone, and then they find out, oh shit, no, it wasn't nice at all. Actually, there was a whole kind of feud that happened in a shutdown. I mean, hot mics. You're telling me they can do all this shit, but we get a fucking hot mic of some person calling him a jackass? Is that trying to boost up his points? More people are like, hey, at least he's standing up for himself. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't want to hear my president call someone a jackass.
It's straight hypocrisy. Again, that was fine, but anything Trump did to the same effect was he was the worst ever. And again, I'm a libertarian. I don't give a fuck about Trump, but I'm not like an idiot. Like, I see through you're not gonna just be like, Trump's this, and this. I go, no, I don't like Trump for the reasons of this. A, didn't end a single fucking war, so fuck him. B, expanded the government and spent more money than any other president, except Biden now. Biden beat him. But before Biden, it was Trump. Those were two fucking giant ones. Didn't end any of the drug war stuff. Didn't end any of the fucking vaccine bullshit. Didn't fire Fauci one time. Put us into lockdowns. All these reasons I could hate Trump for. None of them are for the bullshit you're going to tell me for. Like, Russiagate was complete bullshit. It's a fabrication. That never happened, right? All this shit that the mainstream media and dumb progs try to fucking tell me for 4 years is bullshit. You could hate that guy for all the reasons I just said, and those are legitimately good reasons to fucking think he's the worst president. But you're going to lie to me instead. And I'm not, I have principle and I'm consistent over everything else. So I'm not going to go, oh, he said a racist thing. Dude, Biden says racist shit all the fucking time, blatantly. And nothing ever happens because it's a fucking, it's an agenda. It's a one-way street. And this, I'm at the point where like, we were like, the Neil Young thing, like, oh, if you don't see this, it's like, yeah, Robbie, you're right. And we are where we are now at this time of place on Earth, and we see all the shit that's been going on the last 2 years. If I still have to tell you, hey man, this isn't on the up and up, you're a lost cause and are truly fucking retarded.
Really? You don't think people what else if those are bots though? Some of those
Dude, there's
people, like, they're
plenty
completely
of
just
people
ignorant.
I personally know who are still like, don't understand the inflation thing. They still are like,
Yeah, that's a
well,
big
at least
problem.
Trump's out. Like,
That's
they
a
still,
big fucking
because
problem.
they're still so brainwashed on the Trump thing. They don't understand that 7.7% inflation is the highest we've ever seen in the history of this country. People are dumb, and they don't know. Like, I'm dumb too, but at least I try to read books on economics. At least I try to better myself with like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've read 3 economics books, which is nothing, but like at least I have a basic understanding of like, hey, the Federal Reserve is evil. They just print money, and that's backed by nothing. And when money's backed by nothing, you get bread lines, which is, because bread costs $40 a loaf now, because you can't just make up money. But people on the left especially are fucking stupid, and they just go, well, what? Rich people. It's like, that's like their answer for everything. It's like, well, rich people have money. It's like, yeah, because they earned it.
But isn't it a general consensus that we're all kind of stupid now because we're letting this happen so much? Like, I'm surprised there's not more protests and riots that are going on. It's like everybody's being broken in spirit.
Blown away how far we let it get.
I mean, you're seeing people revolt about the mandate stuff, which is interesting because you're not seeing a lot of social media coverage on it, but it's fucking happening.
Because they don't let you see it. Like, there's have been massive global protests almost weekly against the mandate stuff. Have you ever seen it on mainstream media? Fox included, by the way.
There was a person that was running or talking about it on Joe Rogan's podcast, and
Right,
they ended
that's
up
my point,
posting a
though.
video about it to march with them in DC.
That's my point, though, with that one. But like, yeah, but like, you have to see it on Twitter through like people, like, as in Twitter won't ever promote it. You have to see through people you follow who post videos, or independent journalists who are honest. Because there have been massive protests in fucking England, Germany, Austria, fucking Denmark, like all these, Sweden, all massive protests about like, fuck this passport shit, fuck this mandate shit.
Oh my God, COVID like just ramped it up so much, because before we were just talking about like, oh, Bohemian Grove, oh, all this type of like Pizzagate shit. Now it's like we're in this whole other realm where like people are like just fucking, I don't know, man. It seems like it just ramped up a little bit more.
They took that shit and just threw it out to the public finally, except without all the dark, like the pedo shit. They just threw like their plan, like they're like we're evil. This is what we do. We don't really care about you. Everything, we're lying to you every step of the way, and you're gonna do it because you're fucking dumb. That's it. And they did it. They told you what they were doing, and people were still like, "Yeah, fucking wear 4 masks. Get the 7th shot." You're a fucking idiot.
Well, terms don't mean anything anymore. Like the idea, like for instance, like the way the words that people say fact checker, I don't think a fact checker is the same word anymore. Like ever since Facebook came out, said that they're just people that hijack the narrative. Yeah.
And then they had to, again, under oath, tell the truth.
But doesn't that seem like bullshit? Like, how come I'm not hearing anything about Zuckerberg anymore? I'm barely hearing about Bezos anymore. It's like they attack them for a second for like the public to see that, hey, we're dealing with this. And then it's like it goes away.
Dude, you see what they want you to see. And I mean, and the people who they want you to be mad at, they want you to be like, it's always that. It's like nothing's organic anymore. That's gone. Like, that's gone. And I know it's like people are like, you crazy. I'm not. I'm honest, and I see the truth. There's nothing organic. Everything you see is straight, just orchestrated from here on out. Everything that's been going on for a while, but like especially now,
it's turning into Snowpiercer.
Kind of, yeah. Like I won't eat the bugs and drink your fucking paste.
Well, it's more like the elite class is going to end up being the ones that survive because they got the bomb shelters and all that type of shit. And then there's going to be a select few. Maybe that's what the world needs, is an apocalypse type scenario. I don't know. There's global threats. Like, I think now more than ever, like the idea that like, oh, we're going to go to World War III. It's like that actually might be a real possibility. I'm seeing a lot of, and I don't know if that's the media saying that, because the media is like intended and they put it in parentheses. I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, you're scaring people. There's people running to the store.
What does the media love? War. Like, of course they do. Of course. And of course, what do politicians love? War. I did a great podcast on my podcast, Porcupine, with Scott Horton. Scott Horton's like one of the best people on the planet about like policy and foreign policy and like all that shit. He wrote 2 great books about the war in the Middle East and how it's bullshit and how we have to, you know, get out of there. Obviously, this was before we pulled out, but like I had him on to talk about a little bit about the Ukraine Russia thing. And the way he breaks it down, pretty much, I'm gonna fuck this up a little bit, but like pretty much he's like, listen, we have nothing to do with this. Nothing. Any rhetoric you hear from our politicians is exactly what it is. It's rhetoric and propaganda. It's not true. None of that is true. We don't belong there. That property was actually owned to Russia way before, and then NATO and shit kind of took it from them. It's actually their shit. They own it. Well, it has nothing to do with us. Like, it's what I'm saying. Like, this is such a bullshit ruse from the government to try to get us involved in another war.
Well, which narrative is more, I guess, easy to believe? Is it the fact that Russia is actually having a problem with NATO? Like, imagine trying to be.
They are. But they're right. They're not wrong, though.
But imagine a bunch of kids that are like kind of the same age and they're all one person's trying to be the adult. It's like, no, we're the same age. You're not going to tell me what to do. It's kind of like countries, for instance. Or do you think that maybe this is all just for show and there's like secret inner handshakes that are happening? Like, we're going to put on a show acting like we're mad at each other when we're really not. It's going to scare people into buying a bunch of shit.
I think that goes on. But I think in this case, I think Russia's truly like, no, we want our shit back. Like, we're done with this. This is fucking bullshit. And then, of course, any reason to start a war. So we're like, yeah, we're mad about this property in Ukraine.
Well, eventually our national debt counter is going to like double faster than the amount of population that's growing. Our population number has been slowly decreasing, very minuscule noticing, but after a while it starts to decrease very, very slowly, which is like what Jordan Peterson, everybody's been talking about. That's going to probably stop at 10 billion and then it's going to slowly count its way down. Some generations, I would say more often than not, are probably having kids at a later age. I think maybe a lot of this infighting that starts to happen is you have multiple influx of generations. Like you have, like before, your parents would be in their 40s and have kids, probably seems the reasonable way to do it. So then there's a large gap. There's not these middle class type generations. Now we're having people that have kids at like 16, 20, like back in the day when you were young and you thought you were going to die because you only lived to be 30. Take that at a grander scale since life has kind of changed. Your population increasing, you having kids. Used to be you have kids probably when you're 16, when you're 17, and when you're like probably in your 20s, because you'll probably die when you're in your late 30s just because from illness back then. But
that's not, but that's a lot of those numbers are skewed. And the reason we don't have a middle class anymore is actually because of government regulations and rules and laws that shrink the middle class and inflate the lower class to a negative and just pump money back into the upper class already. That's why we don't have a middle class anymore. But also, like,
I'm not talking about wealth class. I'm talking about generational thing. The reason why you have a lot of people that
we don't have a lot of, but even then, with the reason like a 30-year-old thing though was like
I had
people
a good
dying.
point.
No, yeah, not yes and no, because that 30-year-old thing though was like fucking.
You don't get me, Dad.
You
don't get me.
They added in infant mortality rates.
Okay, a whole other thing. What I'm saying is that there used to be a giant generational gap depending on, like, people say, well, no, because people had kids when they were 16, 17. That's not a generational gap. It is because your longest lifespan was in your late 30s. Now you get to live.
That's what I'm saying. That's not true. Those are fake numbers.
In the 1800s?
No, the regular adult lifespan was still to the 60s and 70s. They added, all those numbers are always added in with infant mortality rates because childbirth back then was fucking real 50-50.
You're telling me like gangrene and all that shit they didn't die from in like the Midwest?
That's disease and stuff, but
that's death though in your 30s.
No, your average human being lifespan was still 60 to 70 years. But like, it's just that, again, when you have children dying more, and when you average it out, it shrinks. But
I get what you're saying, but I've read so many stories of just people dying in like
yes, of course, because we don't have medicine, we don't have soap and shit. But that didn't mean like everyone was dropping dead at 30. That means everyone on the planet would be dying at like 30 years old.
Well,
it's not the case.
I'm not saying it's a genetic thing. I'm saying that we've learned to kind of like medicine, all this type of stuff to prolong our lives a little bit longer too.
Of course, what I'm saying, longer lifespans in general.
Okay,
yes.
So I'm saying, but the whole thing that didn't translate over was that people were still having kids at a young age. So now you have all these generations. So you have someone who's in their 70s and their 60s and then this. Now you're getting it cut down to in the fives, where you're having all this infighting going on. And that 10-year or 5-year difference is drastic in the grand scale of like the 90s kids or the 2000s kids. There's a grand difference in the culture. The times change so fast. They used to have Nintendo 64s and McDonald's for you to play openly. Now they don't have any of that type of shit and fear someone will steal it. What I'm saying is that creates a lot of influx between the people. So now you have all this generational thing, and we're starting to see a mix where now you're starting to have people that are like kids, for instance, my age, that are waiting to get a little bit older because they're still staying at home before they have a kid. And then you'll have the select few that have kids at a young age still. But I'm saying is eventually that's going to be a bunch of kids having kids when they're in their 30s or in their 40s, and that'll fix that generational thing. And maybe that'll help us focus a little bit more on what the fuck's going on around us. But you're having a lot of people that are being brainwashed at institutions. See, this is the way I was told by an academic. They say when a teacher who becomes an academic who becomes a teacher, we talk about institutionalizing kids in all these colleges and everything like that. What a main thing is that one person that says all these people need to pay, it's the elite class that's fucking you. They teach their students that because they can't convince anybody else who's a teacher to get on their side. Next thing you know, the general consensus amongst the school is all this one teacher that brainwashed all these kids to saying this one thing and fighting on campus, to where if any teacher that rivals that says anything, their students boycott their classroom. Kind of like when I watched a video of Steven Crowder, some dude was calling him out on Twitter. He showed up to talk to the guy and debate him. The guy wouldn't talk to him. He was exposing him in front of everybody. It's one person who might have been a beta, might have been a loser in school, might have been picked on, might have been felt like he was pushed or brainwashed one way to think that the whole system is going to fuck him in the ass because he's a certain type of gender or something. Then he brainwashed all the students to say, this is how the system works. Now all these kids are going into a world thinking this is how the system works, and this is why they're all so fucking ramped up.
So you hit a fun topic we could talk about if you want, public schools and how they're indoctrination camps for children.
Yeah.
100%.
I think everyone knows that.
100%. No, everybody doesn't know that. That's a problem. Like, I truly believe you should homeschool your kids for sure.
You'll see more of that.
If you can, yeah, we already are. Since COVID, you already are.
Yeah.
Not even because like you're forced to, because people saw all these fucking teachers. Like that, shout out to fucking Libs of TikTok Twitter account and like Defiant L's Twitter account, because they expose the fucking crazy psychopath woke academic agenda a lot. Like you have like 5th grade teachers who are in the middle of a class and like they're filming and they're proud of it, and it's fucking disgusting because like I would be furious if my kid was in your class and they would be like, kids, I want you just guys to know, like I'm openly trans, not even trans, like openly gay, furry, owl, whatever the fuck nonsense shit you want to say to children. And they're like,
hold on, that okay. Motherfucker's nocturnal.
I'm a big eye motherfucker. Turn his head around, motherfucker. But like that, it's like you're exposing children to adult shit they have no right to know. Also, you're a fucking stranger, and I don't want my child learning shit from you about anything to do with sexuality. Not a fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? And like I've seen countless TikToks of that. And it's fucking disgusting. And also, physical violence in schools will be the only place many people in their whole life will ever encounter physical violence is in a school, in a public school setting. Everyone's not like me who's like, oh, I want to go fucking do MMA and shit, and like I want to get hit. And there are people like, I don't want everyone to get hit. Like, well, they're gonna get hit in school because school's a fucking savage.
Well, that's going to increase with homeschooling as well too. You're going to have parents that are teaching their kids this type of stuff, and next thing you know, they go out into public, someone disagrees with them, and they want to fight that fucking person because they're so convicted into belief. Brainwashing is going to happen either way, whether it's at a public school thing or whether it's at this. It just depends on what type of brainwashing we're producing.
Unless you have parents who are teaching you violence, like you're not going to learn that at home. But obviously you will. But like I'm saying,
your parents fight. If you have your parents have a bad life, if you come from a place where all you do is watch Fight Club all the time because nobody's fucking home to take care of you, you're going to end up wanting to go. Then you're not going to be homeschooled either. But there's grays to everything. I'm saying though, the majority, it's going to work out for you. It's going to be better. Like it's 100% going to be better. And like you still do sports and shit like that. There's still plenty of fucking leagues out there that don't require you to be in a school. You know, it's I don't necessarily want homeschooling. I don't necessarily think public schooling is the way either. I think homeschooling is good, but I also think there needs to be a balance. Like you need to go in a couple days and then off a couple days, or you can go in a couple days and off a couple days. The issue is that you're going to have a giant jealousy spike in competition rates between parents, because parents, some of them that don't have the time to stay home with their kids or hire a babysitter, are going to be jealous that they're fucking, that lady was an ex-teacher, and she's like, for instance, my nephews, her their mother is a kindergarten teacher. They're doing sensory type like things in their backyard, where when I was a kid, it was just fucking plop you in front of the TV and shut the fuck up. That's what I'm saying, is you're going to have parents that are going to be jealous that their kids getting that experience and they're not able to give that to their kid, which also spikes up hate. Next thing you know, you have one dude who's just fucking mean mugging you across the fucking lawn because he's like, fuck you, man. You're a fucking productive dad, and I have to fucking work all day because I didn't get a good job like you fucking CEO of a fucking condom business, you piece of shit. Like, you're gonna have that type of stuff, which only creates more infighting. So then what's the fix? Do we just start doing virtual learning a little bit more? But then there's the disconnect between that. I mean,
no, because you still have the people who are teaching your children are the problem.
your wife's
and by the way, my wife's a teacher. Yeah. My wife's also a Catholic school teacher at a private Catholic high school.
We get it. She's suppressed.
I'd rather my child go there than public school any day of the fucking week.
I think probably a religious school is probably your safe bet right now, to be 100% honest with you. I'd rather my kid read the Talmud or some shit like that over fucking
100%. I'd rather my kid go to fucking private Catholic school,
stabbed with a fucking cup of noodles.
I'd rather my kid go to a private Catholic school and learn at least good morals and values.
Unless it's a daughter, then you don't want that.
Well, it is an all-girls Catholic school.
Oh my god,
she teaches. It's all girls though. But like, I'd rather my kid go there.
Bring back the ruler.
Oh my god,
slap him in the fucking head.
If a teacher hit my kid with a ruler, I'm going to jail.
Yeah,
like I'm going to jail. I'm gonna go into school the next day and beat the shit out of that woman or guy. I don't give a fuck.
They used to beat the shit out of Billy Mays when he was in school. I wrote about him when I was doing a paper about his life and all that. He was like left-handed or something, and the ink were something different. So he had to keep crossing over to dip his feather thing into the thing, and it would always smear across the paper. They would beat the shit out of him. I was like, damn, that man ended up selling OxyClean to fucking bring that blood out of those nuns' fucking gowns.
My dad, he grew up in Brooklyn, and my uncle, his older brother, the middle brother of them, like he was like a fucking just troublemaker, and they went to Catholic school. And my dad was like, your uncle would constantly be getting fucking smashed by like the fucking nuns and shit, like with weapons, because he was just constantly talking shit.
Well, so is the fix maybe letting kids solve their own problems through the internet, but then it enters an area of misinformation? See, the problem with the internet is that it was sales pitched as an online library. But the issue is that when you go to a library, there's not a librarian that's blocking you from getting books.
Right.
So the internet does that. It actually blends results. It's like getting rid of some of the books. There's books that are outdated in a library that you are told or because like this concept has changed. Everything's evolving so fucking fast. Of course, there's going to be books that are out, but the internet just doesn't even pop those results up. You should have past, future, and present, so you understand what the hell is going on. I think that's a better way to do that. But I also don't know, because I mean, when it comes to the education system, it fucked me from the beginning. So they didn't know about ADHD when I went to school. They thought you were mentally challenged, and they put you in a room. And then I had to, there was one time they forgot to give me lunch, and they came in at the end of the day with a lunch tray. They're like, hey, just to make sure I wasn't going to tell my parents about it. You know what I mean? There's issues that go on, but I also think there's people that are trying their hardest to be able to fix that type of thing. But the issue is that the majority, or the vocal minority, I would say, they're all over the place, and they're showing you like, don't go waste your fucking education. Don't go waste your money. Don't go into debt. In some cases, you're right, but there's also a benefit for it too, because society still runs off of a piece of paper in some aspects, unless you're going to be some type of social obscure influencer that somehow raises to the marks. But I think there's a better way to do it. I don't think it needs to be homeschooling. I just think it needs to be a change in the public school systems, whether that's having another teacher in there with a different side view. That's just having more of a,
so you have two teachers in there throwing out two different views instead of just the truth.
More like one person in the back that's like, hey, I don't want you going into this type of stuff. Like, I don't think, like, for instance, if they were going to teach the Holocaust, they had to teach the other side of it as well too, where I was just like, you're examining it way too closely. Like, there's a large amount of people, I think, from that has now become Holocaust deniers. Like, there's people that don't think the Holocaust really doesn't exist. Now, the only thing I can understand about the Holocaust denying thing is that if you don't think the number was exactly 6 million, because I was like, they definitely rounded up like a motherfucker. But I'm just saying there's people that go way to the extreme where they say it was only 20,000 people. It was only
Yeah, I know.
200,000 people. It's like, that's not fucking true. And we need to discuss that. That needs to be educated properly, but then they don't want to listen. And that's
By the way,
because
200,000 people is still a lot of people.
that's still a lot of fucking people.
Like, imagine still killing 200,000 people.
If you can,
That's so many people.
it's like the Pizzagate thing. The Pizzagate thing's not, it's not like you're yelling at people for wanting to stop kids being molested. Like, it might not been that, but it's definitely going on. It's definitely happening somewhere. The whole QAnon movement, like you're mad at people for wanting to go beat up pedophiles. There's a guy on Facebook page, MR1755 or something like that. He goes and finds those fake pedophile things. He sparked up that whole trend 3 years before. I think I was in high school when he was posting videos about meeting these people off of a fake Tinder account and all that. It's happening out there, but it goes to the conspiracy side when you start getting an army of people, and then you got things like the Capitol. I mean, the fact that there's a remember this day type situation, like it was the greatest, like it was the craziest thing in fucking history. No, it's fucking not.
That was a federal led fucking operation. Holy fuck, dude. Are you shitting me?
People were climbing walls like cops. I was like, that's a cop.
If you think 1-6 was a true insurrection, you're fucking retarded. Holy shit, you're fucking stupid. It was the most federally led thing I've ever seen in my fucking life. Again, not a Trumper. Don't give a fuck. If you were there, you're stupid too. But like, to be like, that was an attack on democracy. You're a fucking idiot. Dude, go look up who Ray Epps is and then come back and we'll talk about fucking 1-6. The dude Ray Epps was on 1,000 cameras that day being like, go to the Capitol, get in there.
I can't tell if you're calling me an idiot or you're calling just people who project that.
No. If you truly believe anybody out there, if you truly believe 1-6 was a fucking true insurgency, you're a fucking idiot.
No, it's probably government created, but at the same time, what I'm trying to say is that you have these giant movements like this that get labeled that all because of the fact that there's a lot of people that just feel like they've been lied to and they don't know what to believe in.
Oh yeah, no, that movement was genuine. I'm saying the actual events of that day from the storming on was 100% federally led.
Yeah, and there's still no answer of why 4 cops killed themselves who were involved in that.
Yeah, also, the only person who truly died that day was Ashley Babbitt. She was murdered unarmed by climbing through a government property window, and that cop is walking free.
What back to the original point is what I'm saying is that you have these giant types of movements of like this type of stuff, whether it's government thing or whatever. We're not going to go into full depths on that, but like the Pizzagate, for instance, or these types of scandals or CIA cover-ups that people call, to think that there's not like government kind of fuckery. I mean, we know about Russian troll farms. The top 20 pages on Facebook are Russian troll farm accounts. There's one called My Baby Daddy Ain't Shit that I pulled up on this show that has almost 2 million likes. And all they do is just put up, they're just Russian troll farms. It's just people in Russia posting memes that the general consensus believes, and their things are spot on accurate. Now,
why is Russia so good at making American memes?
I mean, we probably do the same shit over there in some type of way. It's just an issue of like, there's a lot of shit that's been working around, and it has a system in place for a reason. And I think the technology is advancing so much that it's starting to expose a lot of those things. And a lot of people don't like that. The issue is you're not being talked to about this, and you're not being filtered through this type of thing. So there's people that think that we can do 100% communism. There's people that we can think all these types of things. I don't necessarily know what the fuck to do, but I'm letting everyone know, and you too, which I'm pretty sure you already know, when you fuck with something, you got to understand there's a reason that thing is in place. So whatever you fuck with, understand that when you tear that wall down, there's going to be a wave of water that comes with it. Now, are you willing to accept what that wave of water is without knowing what it is? That's the issue that we need to focus on here, is that there's a lot of we need to tear this down. We need to rip this up. Well, what does that link to? That's a chain holding something up. So do you want a 50-pound weight falling on your fucking head? Or do you want a fucking bag of balloons? Something that's going to be nice and it's not going to hurt as bad. So let's figure out what that is. Maybe cut off the water flow and then let the slow trickle come through until we can tear down the whole thing without getting fucking soaking wet. That would be fucking amazing. But there's a lot of movements, and now it's like all quiet. All I'm seeing is just people shit posting on Twitter. Where was the protest that happened fucking a month ago, 2 months ago? Not even the mandate thing I'm talking about. That aside, the other shit that was well known public, that there were people that were vocally upset. All I'm seeing now is Joe Rogan trending on Twitter about like, fuck Joe Rogan or thank Joe Rogan. And I'm seeing all these types of things where I'm like, we shouldn't be looking to a podcaster to be a voice of fucking reason. We shouldn't be looking to media networks as being the voice of reason. We shouldn't be looking to our fucking president, who should be appointed to the job as the voice of reason, but he's obviously misplaced his fucking brain. I don't fucking know. But there's a lot of people that are willing to say yes only because they don't like the other side. When did it become red versus blue? And how can we fix that? I'd rather it just be everybody. And I think it's going to be aliens. I've talked to Avi Loeb. He talked about like, the only thing is like extraterrestrial life. If that's out there, that's what we should be focusing towards. But I'm like, you can't colonize space if everybody's already fucking weaponized it. That's the issue, is that we're literally shooting ourselves in the foot, where I honestly think we're going to see a branch off, dude. You know how in the beginning there was Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, whatever, or whatever, the smart ones. Not, I don't think they were fully Homo sapiens yet, but then it diverged into one line where only one survived. Like, we've met some people in our lives that you look at them, they have the big bulky forehead and the big thick chin. You're like, that's Neanderthal genetics. I know that for a fact. They ended up fucking and then creating, this whole separate branch, the strongest survive, whatever the hell you want to say. But Neanderthals kind of died out, and the Homo sapiens are what we are now. I'm seeing that branch off happen again, with people joining into the metaverse and never wanting to leave their home, where they eventually, their bones become soft. They don't know how to use their muscles anymore. Then there's going to be people that don't like the metaverse, don't want to join in that online reality shit, want to actually go to work and do shit, lift weights and all that, like myself and other people, where that creates, okay, you're increasing your physical form. So now you have two branches off again, not necessarily all the way back to Neanderthal, not necessarily all the way back to whatever, a different type of ancient hominid, but you have someone who's more than willing to get out of the tech where your brain doesn't expand. See, the issue is that we say the metaverse jokingly. That's going to evolve so much where next thing you know, we're going to have people implementing technology into their head where they're going to be so fucking smart or be able to communicate with their thoughts. Well, they'll be talking shit on us for the people that don't have them, where you're going to see two branches off in society again. I think that's probably where we're going to end
now
up.
You're talking about like
to.
almost like human beings and transhumanism in a way.
Well, cybernetics. I mean, that's
what
Elon Musk.
transhumanism is.
Elon Musk just posted that new article about a
I
new
know.
invention coming soon. So I mean,
Yeah, pass. But like, I don't want anything in my brain.
I don't either. That's the thing. But
Yeah.
there's people that are more than willing to do that. There's a whole race of people out there that want to be fucking cyborgs. And that's what happens, is that you start like all these different changes and all these societal shifts, you're separating even more. You're not coming together more, as much as they think that there's going to be equality and all these types of things. No, there's always going to be a bias in something, but we can eliminate a lot of those, majority of the biases, if we fucking pay attention. But people are creating more of it.
Yeah. Robot arm would be cool though.
So you're jacking your dick and it rips it off.
You get the one you don't jerk off with.
What's the point of having the fucking robot on?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's gonna feel like somebody else.
But that is also a funny thing where like that's why I really truly would never want anything that's not me. Do you ever have like anything inside of you, like a piece of metal or something like that, and like you touch it and you go like, oh, it's not me. Like I shouldn't really be here or something like that. Like you ever have like a surgery done something like that? I would feel like that with the whole arm. I would constantly be touching it, being like, this isn't my fucking arm though. Like, like
I'm waiting for them to be able to reverse the clock back on our inside organs. If they
dude,
can
yeah.
if they can reverse the clock back on your fucking skin on the outside, like Botox and shit, you're telling me they're not going to be able to wait to re-replicate cells by using some type of cloning mechanism? I was just talking to Avi about that. He was telling me, yeah, that's a possibility of creating synthetic life in that sense.
Lobsters, right? Lobsters technically don't die from natural causes, I
think they do.
No, or they don't get no. There's something about lobsters where like they have some sort of I'm gonna fuck this up. They have some sort of gene. Lobsters do. Where
I know what you're talking about,
yeah,
but I don't remember.
And like it's like they kind of makes them immortal, but like because like they just keep growing, they don't.
That's gonna bug me. I gotta look it up now.
Fuck, but there's something about them where there's like a thing in them where technically they don't get like they die, but like they don't die. Like if that makes sense.
Well, eventually you're going to have, how people choose their state and choose where to live based on the things that they like and the things that probably it's most attracted to them. Eventually, if we're doing planet colonization, you're going to have people that just choose to live on separate planets.
I think even if that is a possibility, or even if that is a thing, I think that's so far away from me. It's not even worth talking about.
It's not that far, surprisingly.
No, it definitely is.
I've talked to so many astrophysicists.
I don't give a fuck.
What they're not
on. Okay, cool. We haven't gone to the moon since the 70s. we
We're
just
going to fucking Mars.
with what person? When?
I'll look that up next too.
That's what I'm saying. It's so far from our lifetimes. I don't give a fuck about it. That's fantasy to me. It's science fiction. It's not worth my time. It's just not. I care more about getting rid of fucking COVID regime and fucking mandates than I do about colonizing a planet we ain't colonizing in our fucking lifetime, dude. Dude, in our lifetime, our children's lifetime, our children's children's lifetime, and their children's lifetime, we won't fucking colonize on the planet. Don't forget, 100 years ago, flying cars, this, bro. There's 37 potholes outside my house right now. Like, we ain't colonizing shit. It's a joke. Come on.
So apparently the only reason it's linked in with biological immortality, contrary to popular belief, lobsters are not immortal. Lobsters grow by molting, which requires a lot of energy. And the larger the shell, the more energy is required. Eventually the lobster will die from exhaustion.
Right. That's what I just said, because they keep growing. But if they didn't keep growing.
So if they didn't die from exhaustion, they could probably live forever.
Yes, I was right. I told you. It's because they keep growing. That's what kills them.
Just give them heroin.
Yeah, I'll make them shrink, I guess.
He doesn't.
Then you go into that zombie pose, and then you get like you'll curl up in your shell.
Fold and let's fix that problem. Nobody talks about the fucking opioid rise that's been going on.
Because it's the same exact company that's doling shots to children, dude.
What do you think the government's still drugging people?
Well, in the sense of like Operation Midnight and stuff, no.
Okay.
But like as a sense of like giving people like oxys and stuff, yes.
Okay. Do you think that they want a doped up society? Do you think that's why marijuana is becoming more legal?
I think that's actually more for profit. I think a lot of people realize they can make a lot of money off it, and they realize it was never a big deal. But because why
don't we just eliminate the defense spending? Then we won't have to
yeah, sure. Yeah,
it's such a small percentage, and people are like, that's what needs to go. I'm like, you don't understand. Like, we have like 25% of the actual budget goes to defense. Like,
it's trillions of dollars.
It's way, yeah, but it's not that bad though. Like compared to everything else that they spend on.
It's pretty bad considering we don't need to put that much money into defense at all.
I think it's important to have money in defense. Dude, I think when Biden signs a $760 billion bill to do fucking a space extraterrestrial watch, that's maybe an issue of spending. But I've also talked to people that want more.
We also just crashed a $78 million jet into the ocean by accident. So, you know,
why?
That's your tax dollars at work.
I don't pay taxes. They just take it out of my check without me.
You get swatted, dude.
They just take it out of my check every fucking year. That and my medical thing. I'm like, I don't even have medical insurance. How the fuck am I paying this?
My medical insurance is mad cheap.
You like it when they try and tax you on like your PayPal? They're like, you need to get your tax returns. I'm like, fuck
yeah,
you.
like eat my dick.
Fuck, I barely make anything. I spend more money.
Yeah, I also pay my taxes on my gambling winnings too. Fuck off, you fucking losers.
What do you think
telling you shit?
The next breakdown is going to be of like a stricter enforce? Do you think it's going to go full on like welding people inside their houses like China?
No, I actually think this whole narrative is collapsing in itself, and I think the next bullshit narrative is going to be climate change. That's going to be the next your rights taken away over that.
What will be the point of the climate change narrative?
Don't know yet.
Do you think it's HARP that's engineering all these snowstorms that we're having?
I mean, these are pretty common this time of year, no?
Not as really, I would say. There's usually a warm-up stage to it. This kind of just
January. It snows in Jan. Dude, it snows in March.
Well, HARP. They have many articles talking about weather manipulation. I'm just
saying. I know. I mean, NASA has a machine that could make clouds and rain. I mean, that's on TV. Like they put that on
to
TV.
Me, it just reminds me of the 9/11 kind of like the testimony where everyone's pointing fingers at each other, because now the NSA is writing articles about the CIA say that's stonewalling about UFO information. The UFO or CIA is talking about, oh, well, it's not this that's stonewalling. It's actually this. And they're pointing to another organization where I'm like,
what? Can I be honest with the aliens thing?
What?
More and more, I'm thinking that's complete bullshit. And it's just used as a distraction.
I definitely think it's a research or pull for funding, but I also think they have some type of tech.
Maybe, dude. Maybe. I think
they have to have propulsion systems.
Even if you asked me this question even a year ago, my answer would be different. But the more and more I see, and the more and more I read up on things, and the more I listen to people who know what the fuck they're talking about,
I've
I
talked
think
to these people, so
I
I
think
know.
yeah, me too. I think it's more and more bullshit, straight bullshit, and it's more and more Watchmen esque stuff where it's like, oh, aliens. Don't worry about the fucking people dying from fucking heart attacks at 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just it sucks because that's like the first thing they've ever like before they released it. I think they were expecting a bigger ploy into it, but no one really gave a shit because everybody was worried about like, is grandma gonna die? Now it's like, oh, now everyone's kind of super interested because you're seeing so much public speaking and then all this money getting shoved into another organization, which is good for them, the people that have been fighting for it. But I also I think it creates an issue for people to understand as like, we're not gonna fucking live that long if everyone's fucking tearing down each other's homes. I mean, there's a fear aspect when it comes to an apocalypse, or not an apocalypse, just a fucking horrible weather scenario. Go to the store when you're in the middle of a snowstorm or when a snowstorm is just warned that it's coming.
I know.
We got said it was going to be 8 to 12 fucking inches. There's people that went to the store 6 a.m., red meat all out. Like,
I know.
why are you getting something that's going to go bad? Get something that's non-perishable, you fucking idiot.
I know. They're like,
I
it's
need
like
my steak.
flirting.
I need my steak in the apocalypse. I'm like, fuck off, dude. Just fucking. I'm
Yeah, they're
lucky I don't
dumb.
eat any of that shit. But people will step on your fucking child if they're on the ground trying to save their fucking lives. We see it at the Black Friday specials. That's an issue we need to fix. There needs to be a more compassion or type of empathy with people. I mean, I've talked to a lot of fucking people. You'll be surprised how many people think it's going to be like, oh, I thought it was going to be hard on my political views. I'm like, I don't have any firm standing on anything. I'm open minded as shit, but we got to talk. You can't just come in and say, this is my opinion and I'm right, you're wrong. That's not how this system fucking works. And it's not how it's going to work. You do the same shit, Adam. You can't fucking do that. You
I
got,
have facts and shit though to back up
I'm
my
not
fucking
saying you're
stuff.
wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. Is what I'm saying is that you either though, you know, all your information's right. You have to have a general discourse. That's with anything.
Yeah, but Rob, I think I
I
agree with
look,
you.
I
Hold on, I
know,
agree
I
with you for
know.
certain topics though. Like in other words, like if you're talking about like
You
where
can
to spend this
disagree.
or but yeah, no, I agree with you. And but I think when you talk about my rights, like I don't want to have a civil discussion with not you, the collective you. I don't want to have a civil discussion with you if you're gonna sit there and be like, well, actually, I think you should be segregated from society. I don't want to have. There's nothing to talk about.
I know,
It,
I know, I know. I'm with you on that, but at the same time, you have to talk it out because they're gonna do the same shit if you're gonna react that way as well too. And they might start it. You might do that. It's like your thing when you say like, oh, so you're saying you're not gonna denounce them. You're like, oh, cool, cool, cool. And then you go on to the next thing. You gotta kind of work this out. See, the issue is that you have a lot of people that are tweeting inside of their tribes, thinking this is how it goes, and this is how it is, and this is how these people are. Then you meet that person, you're on a level 11. I can tell you right now that I guarantee you that more people will be willing to have a discussion about things if they know you're going to be willing to have a discussion about things too. It's like when I see these Jordan Peterson debates. Did you I hope he fucking posted. I'm going to pull it up. The lady that they were having a meat versus vegan debate, and she gets up and start like had the whole like her all of her friends in the crowd go, she goes, meat is murder, and then they all stand up in the crowd, go, genocide, meat is murder, genocide. It's like, what are we talking about? Where's the discussion? You don't need to pull up stats and statistics if you don't feel like you have them on basis, but if you have them, pull them up, we'll fucking talk about them. There needs to be a
right.
general discourse. The debates are even fucked from the start, man. They let people go way past the fucking time. They let people cut other
Oh
people
yeah.
off.
Well, that's a
It's
mess.
fucking horrible. It's
But
all
like
for show.
you just made a good example actually of the vegan versus meat thing. There's something where obviously I think meat is a better choice, but like I would never go into like a conversation like that being like you're fucking because it doesn't have the same effect on humanity. But if you're sitting there as an adult who knows history, who has a basic understanding of history, and you're like, actually, I think you should put injections into children and you shouldn't go to a store because you're not vaccinated. You're now an enemy of society and you're actually actively trying to keep me and my family out. So, no, I don't want to have a civil discussion with you because you're the aggressor here. And now you're putting me in a self defense. And guess what? I'm going to win, bro. You're not going to fucking beat me. I'm going to fuck you up because now you're putting me in that situation. Anytime a group of people go to silence another group of people or go to tell that group of people how to live, they're wrong right away. And there's really no discussion to be had on my end because we've seen that throughout history. Again, the world didn't start yesterday. You understand what you're doing is fucking wrong. If you were trying to silence me for my opinion you're wrong. Can you name me one time in history where the group of people silencing the other group of people were the right people? Never. Never once. So I see that and I go, okay, you're trying to actively ruin my livelihood and my family. Fuck you, dude. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Eat shit, fight me. Like, that's it. There's no fucking civility there. We tried it, dude. We tried it for 2 fucking years. We tried saying, like, you shouldn't shut down the economy over this. You shouldn't fucking force people in their homes. You can't close private businesses. You can't arrest working families for opening up their private business. You shouldn't put people on medicine people they don't want. You shouldn't take over our children. We tried for 2 years, brother. This is beyond that. So for certain issues, I agree with you. Yes, for a meat vegan issue, you shouldn't come in guns blazing calling people cunts. Totally agree with you. For the issues of, should people play in sports? Yeah, man, you shouldn't be an asshole. But for the issue of, are my rights at hand? Fuck you. Are you going to take it from me? You fucking better the way you're fucking, not you, but you better the way you're fucking talking, motherfucker. Because then, because they just go right to the government. They go,
Yeah,
you're evil. I'm going to have armed agents of the state now come to your home and take you out of your fucking home and put you in a cage.
I think
Because I don't like the fact that you didn't get a shot.
it's just it's a brainwashing thing. I'm trying to figure out a way to maybe change around. Maybe it's just sales pitching it differently. I feel like we're being sales pitched something without knowing the full effects of everything bad that comes with it. Like if someone says like against your rights, fuck you. What are you talking about rights? And it's like, well, if you look from that person's perspective, that person feels like they're having something taken away from them that they could do on a daily basis, which is a natural right that is part of the Constitution. So technically what they're doing is illegal. It's not hurting you. That just person feels like they're having less of a voice. If that's explained in that sense to that person, maybe they'll have some conflict with it. But also if you keep explaining it and explaining it, it's just so hard to get people to have a civil discussion on things, which I think is our probably our biggest flaw as a society, which is what they capture on. I don't look at this as like a people versus people type thing. And trust me, I've talked to people where you could tell it was getting like a little bit heated. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, why are we talking like this? We should be just talking normally. And it's because you're so ramped up already. And I think that's what they prey on. I don't look at this as a people versus people thing. I look at this as a fucking government fucking us all in the ass.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah.
Yes, but there's a way to do that, and you guys, everyone gets the it's not just you, it's me, it's everyone out there. We all get derived on the smallest shit. When in the grand scale of this is like, what's going to do for future generations? Australia, when I was finding out about those camps that they were having over there, I heard an Australian talk on a podcast where he goes, we might be in like these hotel camp style things, but we think of it differently, just like how we don't have masks on our kids and you guys do. And it's like, oh fuck yeah, we a lot of people just let that go for a very long time. There's a small group probably fighting about it. I know friends that are fucking signing petitions and rioting and doing all that type of shit. But
Yeah.
I go,
Same.
we just think about it a little bit differently. Like look at the optics from another nation looking in at us. We're just like fucking crazy as hell in their eyes. And we're not necessarily crazy because we live here. We know what it's like fucking like. We know what the fucking horrors are in a sense. I just think that like it needs to be discussed, but it's so hard because you're looking through a keyhole at all this small little shit that's going on. And I necessarily think that we probably get along with more things than not. I think everyone wants kind of love and happiness in a sense, but also people don't want to feel like they're being told what to fucking do. I'm the biggest person in that. I don't ever want to be told like someone's fucking talking down to me, but people do that on a daily basis because they feel like you're inferior. It's the words we fucking use. Inferior. There's you could say a full-on sentence, Adam, and I could stop you at every word that you say and tell you like, well, this is how someone's going to think of that. This is how someone's going to think of that. I don't think you need a Jordan Peterson or a psychologist to be able to tell you to do those types of things, but I can tell when I listen to Jordan Peterson in that recent podcast he did, he's off. There's something different. There's a disconnect. They should have hung out the day before and fucking talked things through and then did the show. But the man's obviously going through a lot of shit, whether his addiction thing fucking hit him. But it was the words he was saying. He's a lot different than when he first started because he's broken, because he's ran into way too many people that have literally told him to shut the fuck up. He's a man. He needs to chop his dick off and throw it to society. I don't think that's a thing either. Like when I'm in a podcast and someone tells me like, well, it's because men did this. I literally just go, I'm sorry. They're like, what? I'm like, just saying it right now because obviously I feel like the blame's going to be put to me in a way. And that's because they've been shown some other stuff, not looking at the grand scale of things. You know, where I have had really good conversations with someone who might be a feminist or some type of thing is when they have kids, when they have a son and they realize that That overcomes that emotion of feminism and all this type of stuff. They love the movement, but they're not so ramped up just because you're a dude, you need to pay them money or you need to do these types of things. They don't think that way anymore. We all know the people that have their hair blue and they throw paint at people. We all know those people. Wait till they have kids. When they have kids, it all fucking levels out. That's what I'm saying is when I
Yeah, no,
talk to
I
those
agree with you.
people, I get it.
I agree with you, dude. I think, and again, I'm not a religious person. Like, I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school. My wife's a Catholic school teacher, but like, I'm not like, I don't believe in like a Catholic God or a Jewish God or a Muslim God. I don't believe in like, I don't really believe in it. I think we have a creator. Like, I think something created the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like something had to create something.
But
But
God
there
doesn't know where
is
God come
something.
from.
There is right. That's I know that's the fucking conundrum, right? But like, there isn't something to be said about like nuclear families and like I'm gonna say Christian values because that's just kind of how I could describe it. Might be the best word to use, but just good morals and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, raise a family, don't hit your kids, fucking like be
I
good, don't
agree.
steal, don't. That I think is another thing, part of the agenda to get ripped apart because then you have a weaker society without a strong. You know, I think families are strong and important, and I think certain political class on the extreme end of that political class hates it and they want to destroy it.
I
And
just
I think destroying the nuclear family is a good way to get your message out if it's what you want.
I think I think that's a corporate elite type thinking. I think that's a way that they want to destroy that nuclear family. I think a lot
Why
of
would
people,
corporations want to destroy a nuclear family?
because if you don't have people talking down, you just have people going to their room and watching Netflix, that's more money in their pocket. You're getting more viewership to them rather
You're
than the
just thinking
aspect of,
streaming services. How about all the
well,
other corporations that require like families? You would make more money off of more
I
people in a
guarantee to
house
you,
than
if
you
you
would
could
off of.
name a car company, name whatever, there's something tied into something. What I'm saying is the grand aspect of it, the family value type thing. That's just someone you love. You can have two dads and have a nuclear family type situation. You could have two moms and have a nuclear family. You might have a different outcome than the basic mom and dad. Dad being the breadwinner and the mom being the homemaker or something like that. I don't think that needs to be a thing. I think that needs to. It's definitely evolved. We've evolved past that. I'd be a stay-at-home dad if I could, to be 100% honest with you. That seems way fucking easier than going to fucking work and doing whatever. But what I'm saying is it might be a different outcome. It might be a little bit different. People just need love. They just need love from someone, whether it's a friend talking to them because their mom just died or their dad just died. You just need someone there to realize, like, hey, I'm here for you and I care about you. And a lot of people are getting that through social media and this tribe thinking. That's why it's so nice to be in your fucking tribe of people that agree with you because you feel like you have more power, like you have a blowhorn, you can shout at everybody. That's not necessarily real. When you're in person, how many people do you know that you know if they said something to you, like people that might leave a comment on your shit, if they saw you in the street, would they say the same shit?
No,
No.
dude. But this is my biggest pet peeve of online stuff.
Well, that's the thing is that I think you just need someone to, like, once you talk to someone as like a face to face or even if it's a Zoom thing, once you know like that person you can meet that person in real life, you could run into that person. There's just a different effect. I just think people need a little bit more love. And I'm not talking about peace, love, happiness, spreading flowers everywhere. I just think it needs to be a more of like a general face to face. I've met people that are 100% would yell at me through a Zoom call if we were doing one, but I've met them in person. They don't do that shit. And I could tell I'm like, I'm pressing the button, aren't I? And they're like, kind of, because this is like this and this. I'm like, well, why don't we just talk? Do you see my energy level going up at all? No, it's down low. And it's hard to get other or hard to, I would say, people to stay at the up high when you're down low. And I think that really either pisses people off even more or it causes them to drop down to your frequency level and then start talking this way. And I'm not trying to get hippy dippy. I'm just saying that I know a lot of fucking people who say shit where I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I know you're a troll, man, but like you're trolling them or something like that. But don't. We're gonna go out to drink or something like that. Don't fucking do that. You're going to ruin our whole fucking night. And they stop. You just need someone to bounce off and talk to you. Now, a person I've mentioned to you multiple times on the show was always tweeting like, oh, the numbers are going up because it's this or this. He even said numbers are going up because of kids. Now, we all know that's fucking false, but he's making an assumption. I think assumptions lead you down a really wrong fucking hole. They banned his fucking Twitter profile for misinformation. I haven't fucking heard a word from him. That's because everything he was saying, he was retweeting their whole narrative of fear mongering. Then the narrative flipped and they
Yeah.
the algorithm took him out. That's the thing is that like you got to understand is like people want to feel like they're spreading information to save people or they're spreading information because they're trying to shame other people. You just need to talk to people and honestly, it's not through love with a flower. It's just love in general. You just need someone to know that they fucking care about you. Like
I
I
think
generally care about you. I do. If you message me and you needed something, like a family member died or something, God forbid, I would be there for you, Adam, 100%.
no,
And
I
I
do
think we
same.
just need more people like that
Yeah.
because you're a reasonable person, just like how you're talking now. You're not the ramped up comedic version or this. You're a normal fucking person. But I get where you draw your lines, and it's good to have those fucking lines. I'm not just focusing on you. I'm saying to the broad scale out there, it's so fucking easy to get ramped up. And that's what I call a government manipulational tactic. That's what that is. Because we think with our emotions over our fucking brains. Guys think with their dicks over their fucking heads. I don't know. You see an interview with Matt Walsh where he's talking about transgenderism and all this type of stuff on Dr. Phil. Fuck Dr. Phil for doing that. There's a way better way you could have did that. You purposely incited that violence, knowing that was going to trigger something. And as a person who says has a psychology degree, is a piece of shit.
Well,
That's
Dr.
what I
Phil with
think.
that, he just went, who's two people on both sides of the spectrum, and let's get them in a room. That was 100% on purpose, right? It was 100% to cause division.
For views, that's all it
Yeah,
was.
of
That's
course.
what pisses me off the most is that then people think that there's this whole like, oh, misunderstanding. That means these people need to be shut down. No, you're not doing any of these giant platforms for discussion right. That's not
I,
my show either. I'm just
I,
saying there needs to be a general large view. And I think that's what you get with Joe Rogan. You have a one person talking to so many people and willing to talk to these people about their things and see their perspective and also bring up points. And I think that's important as well, too. But I think you need to have that on national television, not slander the only fucking person doing it. What? Because he's fucking up your formula?
yeah.
That's not right.
I also think we have a massive critical thinking issue as a society because if literally a quarter of the people critically thought when COVID came, we wouldn't be where we are. Where everyone just like, okay, they're telling me. And then you get what you get. Like, it's that simple. It's literally that simple. If you just openly believe everything that you were told from an authority figure, we're always going to have a problem, man. We're always going to be in a world of shit. It doesn't even matter so much about being nice. If you have, because here's the thing, Rob, you're also basing this on like, not basing it on, but like, everyone's not going to not be evil.
Yeah, Google
Like
had
you're
a
gonna
whole
have evil
fucking
people, and those
article.
evil people, right? And those evil people are gonna manipulate and run things to benefit themselves and their friends in power, right? So those evil people, guess what, are in government. And when you have those evil people in government now come to the masses and go, fucking thing, gotta take away all your rights, people will go, okay.
Yeah, but my issue is that that's not the problem. The problem is that it's not being targeted. You're having people fighting each other where you never see these
Right,
politicians see
because of
anything.
that. Because all
That
they need to do is that little domino push, and then dummies who don't think fight each other.
that's what I'm telling you is that nobody's thinking of the other perspective. But the issue is that's conversation. That's people talking to each other. It should be everyone in the community, everyone in the tribe talking about how these people are fucking them over. There isn't that discussion happening. Everyone's fighting because, oh, this person said this about this and this and this is.
So a good example of what
You're
you're
the puppets,
saying.
attack the strings.
No, would you, a good example of what you're saying is the agenda pushers with the, so a lot of times obviously a lot of pro gun and pro 2A libertarian groups, stuff like that, they're out there marching against like all the shit, and they're open carrying legally, rifles and shit. And then the people who want to cause division, they go, oh, if that was a black family open carrying down the street, I bet you wouldn't say the same thing. And we're all like, yeah, we would love it actually if they did that. Why would we care? Because they're like, oh, you just want to cause strife and racism and bullshit, that you want to cause arguments that aren't there. When in all reality, any American citizen who should rightfully be allowed to openly defend themselves and their families and get a gun and walk down the fucking street with it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Black, white, I don't give a fuck. So the fact that like they try to cause that strife. So I saw one whole thing where there's a whole group of fucking essentially like a black gun owners and a bunch of like libertarian 2A white gun owners, whatever the fuck. And they just got together and marched together. Because like, oh yeah, we're all on the same team here. We're all for the same thing. But then you had people on Twitter being like, fucking, oh, it's white people doing this only. And black. It's like, stop the bullshit. Stop it. You have a bunch of people here who are marching together, open carrying against the government. That's what we want to see. You just want to see division because you're told to sow it. So you sow it. That's it. They're dumb.
I also think that with these media corporations, these news networks, the number networks, I feel like if they had larger audiences, they would be more willing to accept the truth or report the truth rather than just try and fit the narrative that fits their audience. I think their fear now is that people are moving to other platforms to be able to get their news. The number networks aren't just really the dominant ones anymore, considering Joe Rogan's audience is like at 11 million and CNN's at
I
like
know.
500,000. Um, I think they'd be more likely to perpetuate the truth if there wasn't any of the podcasts out there. If that means my show's gone too, yeah. I just think maybe if they have a larger audience, they'd be more willing to say the truth and the facts that people want to fucking hear. Um, but also,
But I
I
think
also think government has somehow found a way into media corporations and decided we might as well work together since your audience is so small. I'll make sure I
they
pay your bills.
they found a way since the 50s. You ever heard of
Probably,
Operation
but I
Mocking?
think
No,
I
it's not probably. You ever heard Operation Mockingbird? This is a
yeah,
true
I
thing.
know, I
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, it's the fucking whole thing since the 50s, dude. It's like, yeah,
I
no
know,
shit.
but there was still like a lot of more independent journalists and stuff. Like the fact that they were able to fake a whole entire airliner blowing up and put fake things in bodies and get a whole news people to report on it, all to act like it was part of the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that type of shit. That's fucking something that wouldn't happen today. If someone came to a person and said, "We're gonna do this fake explosion," and you're gonna be like, "What? What are you talking about? We're gonna report the
Why
shit out
would
of
that
that."
happen today? Why would that happen today? It happens all the time.
What? Give me one recently.
I'm saying the government constantly is doing crazy fucking false flag shit constantly. I mean,
Yeah,
the Governor Whitmer thing is just one example I can think of right now off the top of my head. Where they when they remember the whole plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. It was 12 FBI agents who conned two fucking dummies into a bunch of meetings.
I'm saying as big as a fucking airplane exploding. I don't really give a fuck about a fake
9/11.
kidnapping of a person. That come on, that people died in that
No,
shit.
no,
That
no. I
was
mean,
real.
with the plane getting shot down over Pennsylvania.
I know that, yeah, that's probably more likely. I mean, he even admitted to it in his biography, Dick Cheney did. The issue is that though I'm talking about like a fake explosion only to get people to report on this rather than what they're actually doing or doing
The
sight violence.
Nashville pipe bomb, probably from last Christmas.
What I'm saying is that we know.
But the point is, they never want you to know. We know because we find out, or it's obvious. Like
I have a little bit more faith in like media networks to put a foot down where it's like, what the fuck do you want us to do? Like, I don't know.
Really?
I think it's easier to pass a bill and say, hey, we need you to promote this and isolate this. Like they're saying the antibodies thing that they're saying no to that now, even though
Well,
like
that's obviously
I had it. I didn't tweet about it. I got the fuck over it. I never made a post about it. I put that on my Twitter and I was like, I'm sorry. I'll die next time. Like it just is that what people want? They want to hear
yeah.
you're part of the thing. I didn't get any of it. I don't take any ibuprofen for headaches. I don't do any of that shit. So I don't want to hear someone tell me that, oh, you shame you for getting over something. If you got over it, good. If someone cures their cancer with fucking cheese, you're happy
No,
they cured their fucking
right.
cancer. That's the thing is that
No,
like
because you have to take the Pfizer, which the Pfizer thing, which makes the money. You can't take ivermectin because it's 40 cents and no one owns it.
why did you say the name of it?
You do not?
No, YouTube will flag the shit out of that.
Oh, fucking
I
bleep
took it
it
out of
out.
our last time too. I got
I
to
didn't
write
know that. Bleep,
time
bleep it
code
out. Sorry.
115.
I don't know how far we're in, but bleep it out.
115. Um, I don't know. I expected better out of humanity, to be 100% honest with you. I know there's been a lot of infighting, and I know you shouldn't have high hopes. You always set the bar low in an aspect. But honestly, I just expected more people. If you generally care about the things that you're doing, why wouldn't you be willing to have a discussion about something, whether that person is on the other side or not?
Because
I don't.
people are too tribal, and we're like it's like gone now.
I get that way too. Whenever I start talking to someone and they're 100% shutting me off and cutting me off, I'm like, hang on a fucking second. Let me get my fucking, and I start getting a little bit mad. Then I start dropping the F word a little bit more than I probably should. But I just, I don't know. Honestly, I think it leads with the fact that any type of debate or any type of conversation doesn't really happen in the way it's supposed to happen, even at institutions. It's because people love fucking drama and they love to get riled up about shit. Like they love to go out on the fucking lake and just get hammered. That's all they want to fucking do. Or they want to fight somebody in a fucking Walmart grocery store. I have no clue. But I think there needs to be a better platform and discourse, whether that's two intellectuals talking and having a kind of idea. It shouldn't be a psychological chess match every conversation you're in. Half the conversations I'm in sometimes, I'm like, wait a minute. Am I in a fucking chess match that I don't know I'm in? because they're
Yeah.
trying to like pinpoint and manipulate and find a way to be above you. Just come to the table fucking clean. I got nothing on my head when you come on my show. I got nothing on my head when anybody comes on my show. I just fucking talk and see where it fucking goes.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Death.
None of it's good.
We're gonna isolate, and we're all gonna be part of the metaverse. And then we're all gonna be worried about Zuck bucks.
I gotta fucking get some space in the metaverse. I gotta buy that. You see, someone bought a yacht for like $650,000.
I don't fucking get it. And dude, the NFT art that I've been doing, the AI art, it's fucking amazing, man. I've been putting it on shirts and shit. It's fucking, dude, it's easy as shit. I can see why people can get sucked into it. Honestly, that's what I think is like these algorithms and shit. We need to watch those things fucking evolve. It's going to be intense.
I still don't understand NFTs and how you can make money off it.
Our next president's going to be a cyborg.
That'd be cool.
To have a computer president like Stephen Hawking's.
So a half paralyzed robot.
No. You got to have the face of a human, and then really it's the inner work. Imagine if this is all being run by a computer. It's a simulated like solitaire game.
Dude, I think we're in a simulation all the fucking time. The more and more I think about it, I'm like, how is any of this real? Dude, this is a dumb example.
And stare at the sky.
This is a dumb example of why I think I'm in a simulation. Not even a bit. 100% true. I will pull into the parking lot of where I buy my weed from the weed store in Pennsylvania. Okay.
Does the weed store have a name?
Liberty. I don't know why that matters, but Liberty, Liberty Weed Dispensary in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. There will be 0 people outside when I pull into the lot. 0 people online. 0. I can see it. 0. Not a fucking person. As soon as I pull in, 5 people will get out of their cars and go to the fucking door.
That's every like red box for me.
Every fucking dude. It's to the point where I laugh as I'm pulling in now because I'm like, someone's gonna walk up. Dude, 2 days ago, I went. No one was there. As I'm pulling up, another car pulls up, parks real quick, gets out, goes right to the door. I'm like, yo, this is a fucking teenager in a simulation fucking with me.
That's a red box for me. Whenever I pull up to a red box, there's always someone like waiting awkwardly right behind you. Like, dude, can you back the fuck up a little bit?
But at least you're there first. This is always, and I don't even wait long. It's not even about the wait. It's just about every time I pull up, it's empty. And before I could park, there's people on that line.
I'd rather be second though, because then I feel like anxiety of to pick a film real quick, and then I pick a piece of shit I don't want to watch.
No, it's not like that.
I didn't want to get like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I wanted to get Jurassic World.
I want to watch Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Real feel-good rom-com. Yeah, all the time. I'm in a simulation for sure. But I'm going to film it next time.
I think when you get deja vu, that's like the simulation glitching.
Dude, I can't explain that either. No one can.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Maybe it's all in the food that we're eating. They're definitely doping our foods.
Yeah, GMOs and antibiotics and shit for sure.
Do you think that what do you call it? Do you drink milk?
No, my wife does.
I think it's in the milk. There are some people that are less apt to talk about government shit when they be drinking milk.
Milk's, I don't know. I mean, I know people are always like, we're the only species that drinks milk that's not from whatever. I don't give a fuck. Milk is good though. I mean, I'll drink chocolate milk before I drink regular milk. I mean, I really don't have a reason to drink regular. Like my wife does, but like I won't drink it unless like I'm eating a cookie. Maybe.
I don't ever.
Like, I'll drink chocolate milk before I drink milk.
They make we make protein shakes in my work, and we have to put like almond milk or this in there. And you get a little bit if there's a little bit extra in the blender. You pour yourself a little bit. You're like, I'll take a little bit of protein shake. You drink a little bit of it, and you're like, for me, I just feel like the government ranting going away. I'm like, oh, so this is how society feels.
Well, talk about all right. We'll talk about a little bit. There isn't a reason why the government should tell you what type of milk you could drink and not.
Yeah, well, I mean, there isn't a reason why they have to you can't just have unpasteurized milk. I guess
exactly.
It's poisoning.
That's not their fucking concern.
You can't collect rainwater either. What the fuck's that about?
Thank you. Yes, that's a very big libertarian thing. yeah.
Why can't I collect water from the fucking sky?
Yep. Crazy. You need a permit.
What happens if you're dying of thirst?
Call daddy government.
So wait, is snowflakes like an exception to the rule? Like if you catch a snowflake on your tongue, that's like a childhood moment.
Yeah, if you catch snowflakes and let that melt into water, Does that count?
Yeah, it doesn't count. It's not rain.
Or
That's
is that a
snow.
loophole?
Then you see like they add a patent and also snow. You're like,
Yeah,
fuck.
also snow. Fuck. Yeah.
What about hail? If I'm willing to get hit in the face with a golf-sized ball of ice, I should be able to eat it.
Catch it in a bucket.
That's a weird thing in itself. When you walk outside and it's just hailing, you're like, holy shit, I haven't seen this in years.
You ever see like those giant softball hails in like Texas that like just shatters car windows? And fuck that, dude.
I always remember the opening scene to Godzilla when they're in Tokyo and that fucking ice block the size of like a fucking desk hits that dude in the head and you just hear his whole fucking neck crack and he dies on the ground.
Oh,
I'm
your
like,
head would explode.
Holy shit.
It's a solid piece of fucking material, essentially.
It's fun to watch people get pelted by them, but when someone dies, it becomes like, oh my God.
Remember in New York years ago, a giant icicle fell off a fucking building top and fucking impaled somebody to death.
I heard about that.
I saw a gross video yesterday. Real gross, but you should watch it. This guy fell off like a 6-story building, ass first, like on a sitting position, fell onto one of those car stoppers.
Jesus Christ.
And it went up his asshole through his whole body. Lived. He might have died, but like he was alive when like they had to put the oxygen on him and stuff. And you saw him. There's a picture because his neck's like off to the side, and you see the fucking physical structure of the car thing like pointing out. Like it's still inside of his neck. It didn't break through his skin, but you could see it like bulging out of his fucking body, and he just like this.
The craziest thing I've ever seen was like worst hospital ER emergencies or something like that. And a dude was mowing his lawn in the middle of a fucking. And I remember this from like when I was like 12 years old. I remember seeing on the TV. It fucking scared the shit out of me. Dude was mowing his lawn in the middle of like a windstorm. I guess he was like, fuck it. It's the only time I'm going to be able to do it. Like 40-mile-an-hour winds. A tree branch went through his neck, like all in the middle, and it was all the way through. And they had to saw it off on both ends and then pull it. Yo, he survived. But I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh,
like,
you want to watch a real gross one? Go look up Russian lathe accident.
I'm good. I don't even want to know anything in Russia. It's too hardcore.
It's crazy. You know what a lathe machine is? I never did either until I watched the video. A lathe machine is like essentially this giant industrial machine that like spins and like I don't know exactly what it does, but it spins essentially. And there's this closed circuit footage of this factory in Russia, and this guy got his arm stuck, like his clothing stuck in the thing.
Oh fuck, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it turned on, it literally sucked him in, and it like
it grinds up your bones.
No, grind is not the word. It opened him, it threw him all over the fucking factory.
Oh shit.
He span in such a velocity where like his insides came out from his skin and got thrown everywhere.
That's fucking nuts.
And by the time they stopped the fucking machine, it was just like his skin, like his rubber skin was just like around the machine. His fucking organs and shit were everywhere.
Good God.
And then like the pictures afterwards were gross too.
Those people need to be paid more.
Yeah, I mean, don't stick your arm in a machine, I guess.
I don't think he purposely did it, but that actually
I wouldn't.
Well, that's how my uncle almost died. He got his hair caught in one of those grinding machines that are like grinding and like spinning the gears around. And someone mid fucking like, I mean, it had to be the quickest reaction. Like, you know, something where you're like, I could never do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, had like a blade or something in his hand. He was like, and just cut his hair. He had a long ponytail. Fucking saved him. He came in the next day, or when I saw him the next day, he had a shaved head.
Yeah.
He was like, I shaved my head. I was like, because I got my fucking hair caught in the machine. I was like, you must just died. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been an awful way to die.
That would be a new machine or a new day for me. I'm not working rotator today. I'm gonna stay on the brick machine.
If I'm in a job with like where I'm a heavy machinery and equipment, and they're like, you got to fix this, or I'm like, hey, unplug it totally. Everything's better be off. I'm not coming near that fucking thing. If it has a remote, I heard of the story the other day where there's like this giant bread baking machine in South America, some factory. 2 guys had to go in there and like clean it and like fix it. Thing fucking turns on where they're both in there, and they essentially both get like cooked alive in this fucking like internal fucking bread baking thing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
I'm so happy I don't have any dangerous jobs like that. Like people that work high rise and all that type of shit. I'm like, man, I could never do that.
Fuck that all day.
I
gotta go.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to go. I had to go. I had to go pick my wife.
He
from
was
work.
late. Now he's cut me off. What a
So I got to
piece
pick
of
my wife from work
trash.
because
Okay.
it's snowing here and she has a Mustang.
All right. Adam Nutter comedy everywhere.
Adam Nutter, pretty much
Okay, I'll link it on the
everywhere.
description.
Porcupine called of us. Go check it out.
Thanks.